Hello everyone, welcome to United Us podcast. I am Alexander.
And I am Volo. Now we have a special episode for you.
In this episode, we talk to the principal of Edinburgh College, Audrey Comerford, about the best careers of the future.
How to use AI in the educational process.
How synergistic collaboration with industry partners affects the quality of qualifications and makes our students more creative and outstanding.
Why the friends we make at the college stay with us for life.
We asked the principal what it means to her to be the head of the largest college in Scotland.
Okay, well, the first thing I want to say is that I really appreciate being asked to speak with you. 30 years working in the sector, and I still wonder sometimes, how did I end up being the principal of Edinburgh College, Scotland's largest college? We're responsible for over 10% of all college activity across the whole of Scotland. And of course, we are Scotland's capital city's college. So we have a particular responsibility, I believe, to do the very best we can so that our college is a beacon for others to look at about a successful college and a college that does the very, very best they can for the students in the Edinburgh region, for the local communities within our Edinburgh region, and also for the businesses that we support within our Edinburgh region. I trained in Edinburgh to become a teacher of physical education, so sport was very, very important to me at that time. And I was a semi-professional squash player at that time, so very sporty, and I wanted to teach people physical education, studied for 4 years in Edinburgh. I then went to Bristol University down in England to study sports psychology and working with people and how sport could actually help people's mood state. So I did that for a couple of years and then decided I'd had enough of the world of academia and decided to go and work in private industry, and had a number of experiences working in private industry, which was a great experience, I have to say, because it helped shape me in terms of what I ultimately wanted to do with the rest of my career. And I was very lucky, maybe in the right place at the right time, when a job was advertised for what was Edinburgh's Telford College at the time, and to join the business school as a senior lecturer in business, including marketing and advertising, which I know is your background. And at that point I said, I'm going to give it a year. I'm not sure if I'm going to like this or if it's for me. And here I am almost 30 years later, is that I loved it. I loved the lecturing, I loved being with students, I loved the staff. And I guess for me, more importantly, work is not simply a means to an end. I feel very, very lucky that I'm able to work in a sector that I really, really care about and I believe is a really important sector. And it might sound a bit corny, but colleges are about giving people an opportunity, about giving people a chance, about giving people a better chance to improve their prospects. It's about allowing people to explore and find out what their talent is, what they love, what they're good at, and then build their confidence as well as their qualifications and their skills to go on when they leave the college. So for me to play a part in creating an environment where that happens for people, we change people's lives. That sounds like a cliche, but it's true and it's a fact. We change people's lives. People tell me that every single day, and it's really, really important. I've been a principal for 16 years, quite a long time, and I've been the principal of Edinburgh College for the last 7 of those years, and loving every minute of it.
What advantages, unique facilities and learning support are provided to students while studying at Edinburgh College?
We are a big college, and therefore we provide an awful lot of options in terms of our full range of qualifications across a whole host of levels and across a whole host of subject areas. So when people come to a college, they will have a lot of choice in the first instance of what it is they want to do or to experience. But we also get a lot of people coming to college who still don't really know what it is they want to do, what job they want to have. Do they want to go on to work? Do they want to go on to study at university and do degrees or postgraduate degrees? So for a lot of our students, coming to college is actually about exploring what it is you want to do, getting the confidence, the self-confidence to say, actually, I can do this and I know the path that I want to take. So that's the first thing, is that we've got a range of options that students can choose to do. We also have a number of locations. So we have 4 campuses across the city. And again, that's really important because each of these campuses is rooted within quite different and distinct local communities. And we see ourselves as having a big role to play in being an anchor in those local communities for those students and the wider people who support those students. The other benefit of coming to a college is, as you've just said actually, and if I think about when I was a student, is a big part of being a student is actually meeting people. So meeting fellow students, meeting the staff who are there to lecture you, but also the many, many staff who are here to put that wraparound support that you need and students will need to get through the programme. And you can come and study with us. For some of our courses are weeks long or months long, some are a year long, some are 2 and 3 years long. So again, you have a number of options about how long you can stay with us, and also options for progressing into further levels of study. I mentioned support, and that is really, really important because colleges, what's distinct about colleges is that we take great pride in that wraparound support that we give people from the minute that they apply to come to college, to the process of getting into the college, from those first few weeks where everybody's brand new and it's all quite scary, all the way through until we have our graduation and award events when the students leave us and go on to their next part of their journey. So that support is really, really important. Colleges, by their very nature, we often talk about colleges being technical, vocational, professional learning, skills development, training and qualifications. So that means that we are very, very close to industry. Now that's important because our industry partners actually take a great deal of pride in helping us shape the qualifications. They deliver masterclasses to our students. They allow our students to go and have work placements within their businesses. They help us design specialist facilities. In some cases, we've got employers who actually give us very specialist equipment that isn't even commercially available because they want our students to be taught on the very best. So that whole experience that students get from us is really, really important because the primary role of a college is to get people to a point where they can be confident that they can go into work and get a job, or if they want to, that they can progress into university. So for many of our students, we have special arrangements with the universities. Universities, not just in Scotland, not just in Edinburgh, but across the whole of the UK, where our students, if they come to study with us and are successful, for example, in achieving an HNC or an HND, which is a higher national diploma, study with us for 2 years. Some of the collaboration we've got with the universities mean that they can then go to university, continue their studies, but they continue into year 3 and year 4 of those degree programmes, so they don't have to go back to the beginning. So that's really, really important as well. So those are just some of the benefits that I see as being at a college, and I would hope that in the years to come, the people who study at Edinburgh College will often reflect back on their time at college as being a pivotal moment in their lives. Actually would be wonderful.
What are the college's current main challenges?
There are numerous challenges actually. And the mindset I try and adopt is that with challenge, there is also opportunity. So there's a flip side to that coin, if you like. The main challenges, colleges have always adapted and always changed because the world in which we exist is changing all the time. So of course we have to change what we do and how we do it to ensure that we are fit for purpose. Not just for today, because we are preparing people for the future, for their future and for the future world of work. What is different, I would say, is the speed of change. It feels faster, particularly around technology. So you mentioned artificial intelligence, which is probably very high on the priority of any educational establishment, whether it's a school or a college or a university, and how those new and emerging technologies are going to impact on how students learn, on how our lecturers teach and do their job, but also on the world of work, because the nature of work itself is fundamentally changing and going to change, and depending on the area of work and the jobs will be impacted differently through artificial intelligence, and we need to be very aware of that. Now, again, an important distinctiveness about colleges is, as I said earlier, a lot of what we do is about technical, vocational, hands-on, practical experience and learning, is that it's very hard for artificial intelligence to mimic that. So actually I'm not particularly worried about that in the same way that maybe more academic courses and learning artificial intelligence might impact a wee bit more. But what we are seeing with particularly new technologies is how can we exploit new technologies to create simulated work environments to expose our students to what feels like real life when it's not real life, if that makes sense. So I'll give you an example. We teach in health and social care, and we are teaching people who want to go on and become nurses. And some of those nurses will end up working with people who have dementia. But it's very hard to teach with a book or an overhead screen what it's like to have dementia and what it's like to support somebody that has dementia. But new technology has designed virtual reality experiences where students can experience, literally experience, what it feels like to have dementia. And then that then means that they have a far better understanding and empathy for what it then means in terms of how they do their job as a carer or as a nurse. So that would be an example. I think challenges, the only other main area I would highlight is that public sector funding, whether it's colleges or whether it's our health service or our police forces or our fire brigade, all of those very, very important public sectors, and we're in the public sector, are coming under financial pressures. Now that's a challenge, but the opportunity there is that colleges are becoming much more entrepreneurial about how we can say, okay, it is becoming a bit more difficult, therefore how can we respond to that to make sure that we continue to invest in our college, in our staff and in our students, and it's really important.
Does the college provide financial and motivational support to students?
When we ask students what are their main concerns, and the most recent feedback that we've had from students, maybe not surprisingly, has been challenges around cost of living, and also in the case of Edinburgh is having access to housing and accommodation and places to live. So those rank as the top two challenges. And a third one that I would add to that is that as we have come out of the pandemic, there is no question that we have students coming through the college whose experience through the pandemic was really difficult in terms of their education. It was very isolated. And that's going to take time for people to get used to being back in an environment which is busy, which is sociable, which has lots of students. So I think there are a number of things here. Colleges offer an awful lot of very direct and specific support to students in terms of financial advice. There are a whole range of student support funds and bursaries that again we use with students to try and make it easier. Through the cost of living crisis, which again students continue to struggle from, we provide free breakfasts as an example for our students, because we know it's really important that people have something to eat in the morning if we expect them to be at college and study all day. So that is really, really important. And colleges are known for providing opportunities to a very, very diverse group of students. And when I say diverse, I mean age. We work with students who are pupils who are still in school but come to college. About 5,000 school pupils a week are coming to the college, or we are going into schools and working with them, all the way through to adults who have worked but want to either change job or want to be promoted in their current role but need to get additional qualifications or skills training, and everything in between. We support a lot of students with disabilities, and again that's very important for us, is to make sure that how we teach, the support mechanisms, our environment is as supportive as it can be for those students who have a disability. We're also very proud of the work that we do with our care experienced students. So we have over 1,000 people studying with us right now who are care experienced, who face numerous challenges, particularly around confidence and a belief in themselves in terms of what they can do and what they're capable of. And that's really, really important for me, to make sure that we focus in on those individuals and groups of individuals that really need us to go the extra mile to make sure that they get that life opportunity and chance to be at college.
In 2025, Edinburgh College was granted College of Century status and took on the significant responsibility of supporting people from over 135 countries with ESOL and other skills. What does it mean for the college mission?
You've said a very important word there, which is responsibility, and I believe that we do have a responsibility to do what we can, and particularly in Edinburgh, because Edinburgh is the capital city of Scotland, is that Edinburgh as a place attracts a lot of people who want to come here, who want to try and succeed, who want to live here, want to study here, want to work here, or in some cases have to be here because it's their only option. And therefore we've got a very, very important role to do what we can to support those individuals. I think it's fair to say there are 2 colleges in Scotland, one is in Glasgow and ourselves in Edinburgh, who have a particularly large cohort of people who are studying English as their second language and other wider languages actually. And we are very proud of that. And in fact, although we're the second largest provider in the whole of Scotland for this, is that we know we are turning people away. So the demand is outstripping what we are funded to do. And we are currently in the process of making the case that we don't want to turn people away. We want to be able to take in everybody that wants to come here. So we're in the process of doing that. So for example, our ESOL provision, we have grown by many hundreds of students for this year, and we're trying to explore how we can do that again next year. But we have people coming to us actually from a whole variety of countries. We have students currently studying in Edinburgh College from 135 countries across the world for all sorts of different reasons. And all sorts of those people bring all sorts of different challenges and their own personal stories about why they're here, and therefore what we can then do to support them. So it goes quite deep with the college actually, because it is about, I would say it is about our values actually. So this isn't just about us providing courses or training. It is about us doing our bit, and it's not just us, there are many other stakeholders and partners that we work with across Edinburgh and beyond, that we are doing our bit to try and help people who need help and need to be supported. And that is very, very important and will continue to be extremely important, to the point that our reputation is important for those individuals, but also I want to be able to say to anyone in Scotland and beyond that it is important, and we want to invest in this, and we want to grow, and we want to continue to do as much as we possibly can within the system that we operate in.
How does the diversity of international students influence college culture and Scottish culture in general?
The culture of my college is shaped by the people in it, the staff, the students. We also have staff from, I think I'm right in saying, 120 different countries. So we have a very large international profile of our lecturing staff, which is great because they bring diversity of culture, of language, of experience. I mean, as you have said, and then our student body is exactly the same. So that creates and shapes the feel of our college, how we do things in our college. When I first became the principal of Edinburgh College, I remember walking into the lift in this building that we're in, and the lift doors shut, and I was in the lift with a group of students, which wasn't surprising. But what struck me was that these students were talking in completely different languages. And as a principal of a college, I had never experienced that before. So it's tangible, it's tangible. I still smile when I'm walking along the corridor and I hear conversations in a whole plethora of different languages, which is wonderful. Many of our Scottish students, and this is common across colleges across Scotland, for our local students who come from Scotland and come from our local communities around our campuses, for many of those students, they may not have travelled or had any experience beyond the boundaries of Edinburgh City, Scotland. So to be able to, for those students to come in and study in Edinburgh College and suddenly find that they're sitting next to a number of people, classmates, students, who have travelled from Ukraine, who've travelled from a whole host of different countries, what an experience that is to have. How wonderful.
The Ukrainian flag flew alongside the Scottish flag at the college for a long time. What support did the college give to Ukrainians?
It wasn't a difficult decision, but it was a challenge in terms of trying to figure out what we would need to do to try and help and do our bit, because the solutions weren't immediate. So we had to think that through. It was very emotional because at that time, you know, in terms of the conflict, and a conversation actually with an individual who was the chair of a charity, and it was through Hibs, which is a football team in Edinburgh, and the chair of that local charity, which had very strong connections with orphanages in Ukraine, basically decided himself with other people around him that they were going to try and basically bring to Scotland for a period of time, however long was needed, a group of children who ranged from baby all the way up to teenagers, and the women that cared for them in these orphanages. And that charity managed to transport those people, and it was over 50 people in total, to Scotland. And then the challenge then became, where are they going to go to live, to stay together, which was really, really important, and that was a big challenge. They wanted to stay together as a group if they could, to be cared for, to be educated while they were here for as long as, it could have been weeks, it could have been months, nobody knew how long it would be. And it just so happened that we have student accommodation, halls of residence at one of our campuses, and we took the decision to convert a big part of that accommodation into a dedicated facility. Not a home, not a house, but it was something that would allow these children, young adults, and the people who cared for them to stay together and be somewhere safe, where they then could work with a whole range of partners, including the college, schools, local authority, councils, etc., to then say, well, what else do we need to do to make sure everyone is okay while they are here and safe, and we want them to be safe. And the college, as I said earlier, already had a very strong position in terms of English and being able to teach English and to support people. So we were pretty confident that actually we could do our bit, as well as the accommodation, we could do our bit to work with the young people. And yeah, and we continue to do that. And in fact, I think I'm right in saying that all of the families that came here have now all moved into more permanent housing across Scotland, actually, which is good news, actually. So the Ukrainian flag was just a very simple, kind of visible gesture that when those individuals came onto our campus, that you said earlier, they saw a very small, tiny thing that was a sign from home.
And finally, what is the vision for the future, and what are the core principles and values that Audrey Camberford believes in?
So, although I'm the principal of the college, I do firmly believe that my role is not down to me. It is for me to lead, but it is down to me to create the very best environment that I can that will allow the students who choose us and put their trust in us to have the very best experience while they're here, and the chance and opportunity to go on to something positive. But it's also my role in creating that environment, the best possible environment for my staff to flourish, to be proud of being a part of their college. It's their college. This isn't my college. This college belongs to the staff, the students, the very many people that make it what it is today. So that's my big mission, actually, is to do the very best I can to create that environment where people will flourish, whatever they're doing, whether they're students or whether they're staff, and to absolutely maximise what we can do for the people, as I said, who put their trust in coming to us. That's a big responsibility. This might sound a bit corny, but I do feel very, very lucky and blessed to be working in the sector that I'm working in, and part of that was just chance and being in the right place at the right time, and doing something that I believe is hugely important to transforming people's lives. So for me, just to be able to be a part of that is a massive, massive thing. And my other mission is that I'm coming to the end of my career, actually, in terms of colleges, and therefore I want to be able to, when the time comes, look back and say that actually I did my bit. Now, there is a downside to this, which is being the principal of the college, I sometimes have to make very difficult decisions and difficult choices, which undoubtedly will not be popular. And that's a lesson I've learned over the years, is that I cannot keep everybody happy all of the time, because I do have a responsibility for making sure that my college is here today and will continue to exist in the future to do what we are here to do. And that sometimes makes difficult decisions and difficult choices. But that goes with the job of being the principal of the college. I think in my experience, the really close relationships within a college, understandably, are between students and their student peers, so people that they study with, and the people who are teaching them, and the people who are supporting them. Those are the really, really important connections. And when it comes to alumni, we do have a number of alumni, working in Hollywood, as actors, and we've got business people who've gone on to become worldwide successful business people. Is that if you were to ask them, what do you remember about Edinburgh College? I would hope and think that they would talk about the lecturer or the lecturers or the support staff who had an absolute impact on their life, or the students, their colleagues that they continue to be friends with today. And that is really, really important. Reputationally for me, it's important that every student who leaves here having a great experience and a positive experience becomes an ambassador for Edinburgh College, who can go out there and spread the word and try and encourage other people to take that leap of faith, which it is for some people, to come to college. So every single student and staff is a potential ambassador for the college.
This was the United at Podcast with the principal of Edinburgh College.
Thank you for being with us. We look forward to your comments and applause.
Follow us on YouTube and visit the Edinburgh College Student Association website for watch more.
Stay tuned for the next episode. Until then, remember, it's all about us. United by Edinburgh College.
See you soon!